Hi guys, I wanted to do a video for a kind of a 10-year look back for my portfolio in 2014. Uh, really wasn't much of a portfolio, it was mostly debt at that time. That way I could compare it to my 2024 portfolio video that I just posted a couple weeks ago and see what the difference is, and kind of show you that if you keep on plugging away little by little, that it does eventually does make a difference. Just so to give you a little background again, when I started kind of my financer investing journey, well, not even investing, I didn't really start investing until 2014, but when I finished 6 years of college, I had about $80,000 of debt, and then my first job was $4.25 an hour, but I guess my first kind of real career as a physician assistant, I started out making about $60,000 a year. And then after about 20 years or so, I'm making about 120 grand a year now. So I started out actually pretty low, and I started out with quite a bit of debt. Yeah, and then, at that time, I didn't really know anything about investing, actually. I just knew I had a lot of debt, and hopefully I could pay it back. So basically, my only plan back then in 2014 was, my income and trying to save as much as possible. But after, more than 10 years of saving, I kind of figured out, this is not working too well, and I'm probably never going to be able to retire based on what I'm doing currently. So I think the component I was missing at that time, obviously, was knowing nothing about investing. You've probably heard a lot of finance gurus talk about the three-legged stool. So one leg is your earned income, or your total income. How much money can you bring in? And then the second stool is how much of that income can you save, after what you spend and after paying taxes. And the third leg of the stool you can think about is the investing portion. So I didn't know anything about the third leg at that time, so it's basically, I guess you could say, sitting on a two-legged stool, which wasn't really getting me anywhere, even though I was making a decent salary. I had 60 grand in the beginning, 60 grand per year, I was working in healthcare as a physician assistant. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay, again, I know, get a spreadsheet, but I do like kind of handwriting stuff, even back in 2014. So I actually, didn't really log too much stuff because, I didn't really think too much about finance before 2014, really. My only goal was, try to make as much money as possible and try to spend the least amount of money possible. So why don't we start out on this right-hand column. So this is what I owed on my condo in 2014. So let's see. So another mistake that I tell people not to make that I did was I had, you could see, two mortgages here. So I had a primary mortgage and a secondary mortgage because I thought I was smart and decided to pay zero down for my condo, which was obviously a big mistake. So in 2014 at the time, in January, I didn't really log anything, but it's about probably, I owed about 168,000 on my primary mortgage, and then I owed about 53,000 for my second mortgage. So obviously that's quite a bit beginning of, that was probably around January 2014. I owed that much. And then, I was able to get it down a little bit to, 164,000 for the primary, and then about 51 here for the secondary mortgage. So it's making a little bit of headway. I was basically making the minimum payment for the first mortgage, and I was trying to pay a little bit extra for second mortgage to try to get it down as fast as possible. I think I was paying about 8% interest for my second mortgage, which was, I know, ridiculous, and again, a mistake, but that's why I'm kind of sharing this with everyone else, so they don't make the same mistake. So yeah, and then I think the primary mortgage I was paying probably close to about 4%, I believe. Yeah, probably about 4%. So I think around that time, I probably owed about a total of around 260,000 on my condo still. But is a bit after the 2008 real estate crash. So it was a little bit, I guess, right past the trough, maybe going up a little bit. I think my condo was worth about 158,000 at that time, and I still owed about 216,000. So obviously I was underwater by quite a bit. Yeah, so don't do that. So obviously the situation 10 years ago compared to now, in 2024, I actually was thinking about giving the condo back to the bank at that time, just because I was so much underwater at that time, and I wasn't sure if I want to keep on paying it. 2 mortgages. Luckily, I persevered. So now the condo is worth about 400,000, or I think I put 399K on the last video. It's worth 399K, and I did pay it off. So thankfully, that's a good thing. So I'll save it for another video, but I don't really recommend buying a house or condo. I think you could probably come out with more if you invested in the stock market, actually. But again, I'll talk about that on another video. So basically, most financial experts say that a house or property, a primary residence, is kind of a forced savings vehicle. So leveraged, inflation protected forced savings vehicle. So I guess I agree with that. So I mean, if you're really bad at saving, I guess buying property and paying it down to zero is a way to force yourself to save. Okay, so let's look at the next column here. So this was, I believe, my school loans. So in January is probably around 11 or 12,000. So I believe I was paying 4% on my school loans. So I think I paid a little bit extra. I think I was only paying like $50 extra on my school loans because it's 4%, and I was putting all the extra towards this $52,000 second mortgage because the interest was a lot higher. So I think I was paying like an extra $500 a month towards the second mortgage to try to get it down. So I was doing, I think, what they call the avalanche method. So you try to pick the debt that has the highest interest rate and pay that down first. So I think that was kind of what I was doing at the time. I didn't know it was called that at the time because, again, knew nothing about investing. The other option is what they call the snowball method, whereas you pick the debt that has the total smallest amount. So, say the school loans is $11,000, is a smaller amount than the $52,000 for my second mortgage. So if you're doing the snowball method, you pay off the smallest amount first, even though it may not be the highest interest rate, but supposedly doing the snowball method is more kind of a psychological motivator that, like, yeah, I paid off, at least one of my loans. So kind of depends, which one you do, kind of depends on you. If you're a pretty good saver, you're pretty good about, paying stuff down, I would probably go with the avalanche method and pay off the highest interest rate debt first. But if you have a hard time saving, then, maybe the snowball method is better because it gives you kind of more of a psychological push. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so I was paying 4% on primary. I was paying 8% interest on secondary. I was paying 4% on the school loans here. What I probably should have put down as well on the spreadsheet, which I did not at that time, I think midway through the year in 2014, I actually bought a new car. And yes, I know financial experts are going to say you should never buy a new car because it depreciates, but at the time I was commuting about 100 miles to work every day. So I bought a brand new Civic, big expensive car. But I just didn't want to deal with maintenance and make sure I could get to work every day driving 100 miles. So I bought a new Civic about midway through the year in 2014. I think I spent about probably maybe 22,000 plus probably a couple thousand more for interest. So let's say 24,000. The good thing I was only paying 1% interest on that, I believe. So it wasn't too bad. Compared to what I'm paying on my truck right now is 6%. So much better deal as far as interest rate for cars back then. Okay, yeah, so condo debt, school loan debt. I didn't put the car debt on there, but at that time, probably midway through the year, is probably about at least 23,000 at 1% interest rate, which is not too much, which is a good interest rate. Okay, I'm not sure what the heck I was doing here. I think I had my savings. Actually, I had my money divided in 2 different savings accounts, and I just never wrote it in for some reason. But yeah, so I had more money than this. I just didn't write it down. So towards the end of the year, this was cash savings into separate savings accounts. So I had about 74,000 total in savings. And again, I guess I'm kind of a chicken, so I'm a big proponent of big emergency fund. So again, financial experts recommend 3 to 6 months in your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenditure. Obviously, if you have a family, kids, probably want to aim more towards 6 to 12 months emergency fund, or if you have, unstable job, things like that. So at that time, my emergency fund or savings was about $74,000, I believe. So, and as far as investing at that time, again, I knew nothing. I believe the only thing I had in my investment portfolio, I had maybe $1,000 in my 401k, and that's only because our human resources rep recommended that we start putting money in there. Excuse me. So I did, and I think I was only putting like, I don't know, $100 a month, maybe. And I only did contribute my 401k, maybe for like 6 to 12 months at that time. I had a match, but I didn't stay at the company for 3 years for the vesting period. So I think I actually ended up not getting the match in the end. So in 2014, I had a whopping probably $1,000 worth of mutual funds in my 401k. I had no idea what I was doing. I think I ended up picking like some type of international fund that looked like it had the highest return, but I had no idea about expense ratios and cost fees and things like that. So I'm sure the fees were pretty high. I don't even know what they were because I never looked at them. Yeah, so let's do a little comparison here. So 2014, investing wise, stock wise, $1,000 in stock versus 2024, I had about total of $362,000 in stock, my stock portfolio. So 362K versus 1,000, so big difference. So I think getting started is the hardest part, and just keep on going. You have to do it continuously, not one time. Some people like dropping a big amount, at the beginning of the year, end of year, whatever. That's fine. If you can force yourself to do that every year, that's great. Otherwise, the finance experts recommend DCA or dollar cost averaging, where just throwing a small amount in every month, or however often you want to do it. Even if it's $50 a paycheck, $100 a paycheck, or per month. So they say time in the market is more important than trying to time the market, meaning trying to buy stock at the trough of when the market crashes, because nobody ever knows when the market's gonna crash all the way down. So yeah, so big difference in 10 years with my stock portfolio. So savings, I had about 74,000 in 2014. Fast forward to 10 years, I have about, I think, close to about 166,000 in my emergency fund or cash savings right now. I did get some, pay bumps along the way. I think I graduated about 2002. So my first job at school was about 60,000, and now I'm up to about 120,000. So I did get a pretty big pay increase, but that was basically, definitely not at the same job. That was jumping around, switching jobs every, 3 to 4 years. I think is a way to get your salary increased. You have to be a little careful if you jump jobs too often in healthcare. HR people, I think, don't like that and might consider a red flag that you're not a stable employee. But my brother tells me in tech, it's a totally different story, and it's pretty normal to jump jobs every few years. So if you're in healthcare, just be careful not to jump jobs too often. Sorry, I'm digressing. I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Yeah, so 74,000 versus 10 years later, 166,000. So I think I made pretty good gains on saving. So this is my Civic. I paid that off. I almost have my new truck paid off as well. I had my Civic for 10 years, and I just need something more reliable and a little bit safer, so I got a truck. And then, oh, sorry. Actually, this is school loans. So $10,000 of school loans in 2014 versus now. I obviously have no school loans. They're paid off. So school loans are paid off. Sorry. So Civic in 2014 was about 23,000 at that time. I owed 23,000 on my Civic. That was paid off. I have my second car, my truck right now, and that's almost paid off. I think on the last video I was down to about 11,000. And then if we compare my condo, at that time I owed about 216,000. Compared to 10 years later, I owe zero on it because I paid it off. So I think that made a big difference, especially paying 8% on that second mortgage was killing me. So both the primary and secondary mortgage payments are gone. So that leaves me with some extra spending money on my paychecks. Other thing I might mention, even though I paid the condo off, I still have to pay a HOA fee. So I definitely don't recommend anybody getting a condo. My HOA fee was about, I think, less than $100 when I bought it. It's more than tripled. So definitely the HOA is something that can and probably will increase over time. So don't buy condos, guys. If you want to buy something, I would recommend you buy a house. Okay. But yeah, that's basically kind of a look back 10 years. So pretty big difference, I think. So I guess the moral story is, keep on pushing, stay motivated, do things little by little, even, adding $50 to $100 per month to your investment fund helps, or even adding $50 to $100 in your savings helps, or even, paying extra on these crazy, if you have an 8% loan or more, or you have a credit card loan, which are, I'm sure, I don't know how much they are these days, 25% interest rate on a credit card. So pay those off first, pay the highest interest rate off first. I recommend doing the avalanche method. So yeah, so a little long-winded, sorry guys. But I figured since I did the 2024 video, people are probably saying, oh, that's crazy. You're not like the normal Joe. Well, if you look back 10 years ago, I was like the normal Joe. I had 3 things I was in debt in. I had car debt, I had school loan debt, and I had a primary residence debt. But yeah, so I'll post maybe a different video regarding physician assistant jobs and some other investing stuff in the future. Thanks, guys.